What's going on, YouTube? Chris here. I want to bring you all an update of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and we're going to look at a few altcoins as well. I want to start in with Bitcoin because it's the driver of the market, and then Ethereum after that, which is going to control the altcoins. And right now, we ended up having that break down through this pennant formation that we are in, or this little symmetrical triangle that we are in. We had a heavy break on heavy volume here, powerful candle to the downside. Main thing I want you to pay attention to: since October 8th, we've been trading up above this 200 moving average on the 4-hour time frame. So we're looking at the 4-hour time frame to give you all a little bit more detail here. So we've been trading up above that since October 8th. So it's significant that we continue to hold that as support. If we don't hold that as support, we'd be looking down around like $16,356. Now on the 4-hour, we did have some heavier volume coming in here, and you can see we basically had one of these bullish piercing patterns. And it's a stronger piercing pattern, and remember, on the 4-hour time frame here. So if you're trading a little bit more long term, you want to look at the week and the 1 day. This here, we're doing a little bit more swing trading, just really trying to play these moves. But we had a bullish piercing pattern right here on above average volume. And now what we're trying to do is get up through this 100 moving average that's acting as overhead resistance. You can see this long wick where profit's been taken. So we have to be cautious in this area. Okay, so to get up over top, we need to get back through 18,482. We're sitting at 18,291 right now. And then what it would be is trying to get back up in this triangle. Now, there's a lot of times when you'll break down through and then you'll actually come back up and back test before you have another major dump to the downside. So we need to be aware of that. So if you're playing something like this here, this piercing pattern, say you got in, I would put a stop loss below. And this is not financial advice. I'd probably go like 17,831, somewhere in there. But this is still a risky play because you have all this overhead resistance now. You have the 20, the 50 EMA pressing down upon you. But this is also a sticky spot because there's a lot of whales who are trying to accumulate, like all these companies, you know, Grayscale and all these different companies. They want as much as possible. So when we do have these dips, they're getting bought up relatively fast, if that makes sense. But I would still be cautious in that area. You know, if you're really trying to play something like this and you think we're going to get a move out of here, I would definitely have some stop loss down, you know, around that 17,800 area. And then I'd also look at that 200, because if we drop below that, I mean, you take a look at this as we step out, just to show you all some history. I think if this breaks, it'll be significant, and it still would be healthy for Bitcoin. We've talked about it. I mean, this has been an explosive move. You know, we are due for a serious correction. But out of here, we've stayed. Look at this white trend line, or white moving average right here. We have stayed up above it this entire time. So that's why it's so critical that we continue to stay up above that. The RSI right now is at 39. We got a pretty sharp bounce down here around roughly 25 on the RSI. So we're just looking at this reaction and trying to figure out, was this the bottom out of this symmetrical triangle here? And now we're going to get this moving, and we're going to continue to hold that support of the 200 moving average, or if this is where we're just retesting the area we broke out from, and we're going to have that heavier dump to the downside. So I would say be cautious. This is a sticky area for us right now, and we're just going to have to see which direction the market's going to be moving here in the days to come. Okay, so that's going to be Bitcoin. Really look at those areas: support, resistance, everything we talked about. Next, what we're going to get into is Ethereum. Take a look at ETH. Same deal. We're going to be looking at ETH on the 4-hour time frame. We're at $564 for Ethereum. Ethereum was a little bit stronger here. Let me see if I can get that out of the way. Okay, Ethereum was a little bit stronger in its candle formation. We had a bullish piercing pattern on the 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin. This is a bullish engulfing candle, a little bit above average volume, kind of the same looking candle here, a lot of wick at the top as we're running into resistance of $573. It's going to be overhead resistance right now. You can see this yellow trend line. That's what we need to break up through. And then we have all these overhead resistances now that we have to get up through, and that's why it's going to take buying pressure. We're looking at 573, then it's going to be 594, and then around $600. Those are going to be the overhead resistances, as well as getting up through these moving averages as well. The 100, the 50, and the 20 we're trading below. Right now, we are still holding that 200 moving average, which we have held for a long time, all the way back since roughly about November 4th. So really keep an eye on that. You could put an alert underneath that, because if we do drop below that, we may be looking down around that 494, even down to that 442. That's very possible. We just have to watch to see if this one of these little reactions right here, and then we have another dump, right? That's how downtrends work, short-term downtrend. So we're pushing up again, and then we're going to see if we have that next leg down or if this is finally where we get up through. So that's why we talk about sticky situations right now. Not financial advice in the longer term. If you're a long-term investor, this is where you want to ride the market. We're in an uptrend. Let it keep rolling. Shorter-term traders here, you have to be cautious in these areas if you're trying to play these trends, okay, in the shorter term. So ETH, we want to stay up above 531. RSI is at 43 right now. So if we do want to get moving here, we have enough room. But that also is going to take Bitcoin moving as well to get Ethereum going. Okay, so really keep an eye on the big dog Bitcoin. So that's going to be ETH. If you get something from that, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We're just going to scroll through a few more, look at the price action here. So Litecoin's at $76. Bitcoin Cash 65, Zcash about 70. OMG 321, Dash 93. We'll take a look at Link. Link's at 1230. And on the 4-hour time frame for Link, we're going to want to hold about $11.70 for support. Overhead resistance, we got to get up through that 20 EMA there, and that's going to be at $12.66 to the upside. But that's what's tough, guys, and that's why we want to keep these trends moving to the upside, and we don't want to start getting in those downtrends. We don't want them to go from short term to intermediate term, if that makes sense. So we want to get out of that short-term downtrend as soon as possible, reverse it, and get moving to the upside. Otherwise, you just start getting these legs down, and you have all this resistance that builds up over top of you that takes a ton of buying pressure to get up through. You got to look at these areas, okay? So overhead resistance, like we talked about, 1266, then it's going to be up around $13.01. In terms of support, we're looking at $11.70. If we drop below that, I'd look down to around $11.25. RSI is at 40 right now. Have a little bit above average volume. Same deal here. We had a bullish engulfing candle, so that's good. If that could be the bottom of this short-term trend, see if we can get moving. But yet again, it's going to depend on Bitcoin. That's what we need to pay attention to. XTZ, we're at $2.15 right now. Bitcoin, 18,342. Let's see here. Digibyte, 0.02. Civic at 0.0962, Makers at 490. I look at Doge as well because that one really can move hard when it gets going, guys. That one gets out of control. The total here, we had a bullish engulfing candle off that 200 moving average. So that's what we're saying here, guys. We're trying to find out if this was the bottom here. And now we're going to get this trend moving back to the upside. So in terms of billions, we're at 194 billion here for the altcoin market. That's excluding Bitcoin. And what we would need to do is break up through this trend line. Just draw a rough one here, trying to get as many points as possible, many touches as possible. So we'd go right about in that range there. So we need to pop up through that. So main overhead resistance area, I would say, would be about 206 billion. But this also could just be a massive continuation pattern here. So if we do this, you can see right here, chopping back and forth in this symmetrical triangle. The trend's been up. If we chop in here and then potentially get that next just huge, massive leg to the upside, anything's possible in this space, guys. Really watch this 200 moving average down here. But that's what I wanted to bring to you today. God bless each and every one of you. Take care, my friends.